Hey Fitheads, today we have Brittany Marsicek, one of the oldest working dancers in LA.
She is ancient. She's like a dinosaur.
Just a storied history of such a long career in a wide range of things. It's actually really interesting, and also she's right off camera and we're making fun of her right now.
It's fine. I'm a dinosaur.
Danceosaur, babe.
Dinosaur.
No, but it was really cool to hear how you started and what you went through to get where you are now and how it's evolved and what it's like being a dancer athlete in LA.
The undergrad stuff, this dance school was pretty professional dancer, excuse us. Yeah, it was, I feel like it's a lot more physically demanding than a lot of people gave you credit for, which I think you articulated well. It was fun because I like to brag about you, and it was bragging about the dance industry, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're a monster.
Beast. Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Welcome, Brittany.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I've heard you know Max No Sleeves.
Slightly, just like here and there, we say hi. That's about it.
In the hallway.
You knew me first. I want to put that out there.
I did. I've known
Kind
you
of.
years longer, apparently.
Apparently. You guys
Apparently.
didn't even remember.
Well, it's different. Like, it was different. So, for the people who don't know our story, Allie took some of my dance classes in Pittsburgh when I was a teacher at Millennium Dance Complex. But it's hard for me to remember you because I have multiple students, but you're probably only taking class from a few teachers.
Yeah, and it's very easy for me to remember you because you're a superstar and I'm just trying to keep up and starry-eyed in this class. And then I see you in LA and I'm like, oh my God, it's Brittany Marsicek. And you're like, what?
Dancer.
But I was like serving, so I was like not feeling glamorous at all.
Which should have been the end of the story, except then I became friends with another one of your friends and she brought you to my concert. Otherwise,
Yes.
you would have just been like, cool, bye, weirdo.
Yeah, well, we like followed each other on Instagram, and I was like, that was cool. Like, I don't.
God.
The measure of a real friendship in LA. Do we actually follow each other on Instagram?
That's a commitment,
We followed.
honestly.
Yeah. It's
Is
not
there a
many people
hide
do
on
it.
Instagram? Can you follow people and not see them?
An
You
Irish
can
goodbye.
mute them.
Oh, follow
Ooh.
people and not see them. I don't know.
Brittany's familiar. She's like, yeah, duh, mute.
You know, toxic
Anyway,
people.
tell us about dancing.
Okay. So my name is
Specifically,
Brittany.
I want to start
and-
from the beginning because
Yeah.
I want to know how hard you went at age 2 and how you
Yeah,
ended
I
up being a
will-
professional dancer and I'm sitting on my couch doing nothing dance related.
Well, technically, that's what I'm doing now too because of the pandemic. But it's weird. It's a weird story. So dance is one of those things. At least when you do it professionally. And if I'm talking about like technical dancing, so when I was 3 years old, around Christmas time, the Nutcracker was playing on TV, and I just like pointed to it, and I told my mom, "Oh, I want to do that." And my mom was like, "Okay," like, and put me in like ballet and gymnastics, and I just loved it. And ever since then, like when I was 4, I've been in dance classes, and it wasn't. So when I was younger, I would take, ballet, tap, jazz, hula, acrobats, fire, like, everything that like anything they'd be offering. It's called like Dolly Dinkle School of Dance. Like they're tossing anything at you and you're just like doing it. But I remember distinctly around the 6th grade where I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. Like, I want this to be my life. So then I auditioned for Ballet Hawaii because I was living in Hawaii at the time, and I got in. And that's when like my serious training began.
Around 6th grade is when I was like, oh, I'm not built to do this. I think that's like maybe like a turning point for people. And it's so young too.
Yes.
How did you compare to the other people your age when you were like, oh yeah, this is mine?
It's funny. So when I went to the schools that were like offering anything and everything, I was one of the best. And then when I went to the professional school, when I went to Ballet Hawaii, I was definitely not the best. I was probably like middle to one of the worst. Like I remember it took me a while to get on point because I had to get retrained in like their technique. So I didn't go on point until I was like 12, which was kind of, most people go around like 10 to 12. So I was like at the end of it and I was like, no, like so worried about it.
That's so early still, though. My
Yeah.
teacher would not let us start till like 12, 13 because she's like, she'd been through having her feet destroyed and wanted to be a little more reasonable. She's also my aunt, by the way, so I think she's being nice.
She's like, let's not destroy your life yet. No,
Yeah.
definitely. It just depends on the type of school you go to. Like Ballet Hawaii was really strict. And then when I moved to DC, I went to a really strict Russian school. And that's when ballet became my life. I took 3 different levels. Like I was in level 5 and then I took level 3 just to be better. Like to take a simpler class and like literally slowly work on my body and like watch it. And then I also took the adult open class on Saturdays. Like I was a psycho. And that school was insane. Like they were super old school, would like hit you with a stick. And like I couldn't wear like toe pads in my shoes. Like my feet were just bleeding and disgusting. It was
What's the point of that?
It was terrible to feel the floor, which is like you don't need to that much. Like it was terrible.
Can you describe toe pads so people know? Like
yes, so a point shoe. I think most people know what a point shoe is, but the bottom of the box is made with a bunch of
there's
paper.
wood in the shoe. There's physical a box.
It's technically paper and glue, like pressed against each other, and that's why it's malleable because wood wouldn't be bendable.
But it still offers some support.
But
it
the
still
bendability
feels like wood.
is pretty
Small.
slim.
Yeah.
The
So
more you wear it, then you
what
break
you
them
do-
down, and then you got to get new ones, and then it feels awful again.
Yeah. So like usually you like will get a new shoe and you like wet it around like your bunions and your knuckles so it can like bend a little bit more, and then you can put a toe pad in so you protect your toes. My teacher would only let us wear lamb's wool, which is stupid because if you've ever felt lamb's wool, it's like as soon as you squeeze it, it's gone. So it was pointless. But just like old school Russians didn't care.
Pointless. That's very good.
The hitting with a stick thing feels like such a myth, but that really they did.
Oh no, it happened. I mean, it's not like they're like slapping me across the face, like ah, like it was mostly like if I was in a position and like my pelvis was back, they would like push the stick into my butt, so like it would tilt my pelvis forward, or like slap my ankles, so like it would like not be sickled, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Do you have like natural arches too? At 6, you were just
Luckily, I was born with good feet, but it did take me a while to engage them. Like for me, I would be so worried about like my legs and forget about my feet, so they'd be a little floppy. So I got yelled at a lot about like extending all the way through. But I always had a nice curve to my feet. That's kind of like a hit or miss with ballerinas. Like, as much as you can stretch your feet and they have like tools and stuff, you kind of have to genetically be born with good feet.
That was one of my questions. You talk about that a lot. What is good feet and what are bad feet?
So a good foot it's called like a banana. So it like, if this is my foot, this is your ankle, it curves like with it, right? A bad foot would go like this. So it's all about your foot being an extension of your leg and not being cut off at any point.
Right, and you're talking about the X graph, but there's also a Y where if your foot's like pointed inward, you want it to like wing outward and be
it's called if it's pointed inward, it's called sickling, and outward is a wing, which is a good thing. That's why if you see a ballerina and her foot's out behind her, it's always pointed up.
Go look at her Instagram to see what we're talking about, because
some ballerina
it's fire.
Thank you.
So when they're hitting you, are they also weighing you in? Because that's another like stereotype.
Yeah. How many cigarettes are you smoking at 8 years old?
10 years old. No, I was actually, I was lucky. I was never really talked to about my weight, but if I'm being completely transparent, I've never had a problem with my weight. I think that's another thing that people are genetically like disposed to. Like it's really hard for me to gain weight, especially as a child. I was dancing so much. I would go to McDonald's like every day and it didn't matter because I was just burning calories. And I was a toothpick. So I never really had that, but my teacher did call us a ton of names. Like one time he did call us fat cows. I remember this distinctly. I was in like the 8th grade and he called us fat cows, but I thought it was so funny because all of us were just 100 pounds, just tiny. And so I started laughing in class when we're getting screamed at. So then I was like coughing to hide it, like, like, and I got kicked out. And then one time he called us clowns because we were walking like
Oh, that's even worse.
a bunch of clowns. Yeah.
Flopping around, feet
You know.
flopping.
Builds character, right?
Was this the Russian guy or was this somebody
This is the
else?
Russian, yeah. It's funny because like as like abusive as all of this sounds, and I'm sure there's some people who are more traumatized than me, I'm pretty thick-skinned. It never really bothered me that much. I was always like, you know, or someone it could like really hurt their feelings. But I will say the best training I ever received in ballet was from that Russian teacher. Well, hands down.
Like,
Russians are historically the best ballerinas. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Why?
what?
Because they just dominate everything.
Isn't there like Russian ballet and then French ballet where they're two
There
different
is,
styles?
but Russian is better.
Ooh.
No, so
Shots
there's like
fired.
Shout out!
There's-
Shots fired to all of our French ballerina listeners.
so basically there's like two methods of training that are pretty standard, which is Balanchine and Vaganova. So Vaganova is Russian and Balanchine is French. And there's like little things here and there. They both have their pros and cons, honestly, but Russian ballet is what people like. We study that, you know, the Kirov, the Bolshoi, like those are Nureyev, like all of those people and those companies are, I don't know, the classics.
That's what you aspire to.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's like the Paris Opera Ballet, but anyway.
So then you
Okay.
went, what was your college experience like?
Oh yeah. So then I auditioned and I got into Point Park University, which is in Pittsburgh, just later on where I met Allie, which at the time
Where
was-
I met you and you did not meet me, to be clear.
No, I hate it so much. So that at the time was the number 2 school in the nation for dance under Juilliard. And once I
didn't know
got
that.
into
Whoa.
there, I didn't audition for any of my other schools. Like I had like 10 on my list and I was like, nope, like I'm going there. And the facility is beautiful. It's amazing. It's extremely expensive. But I got a scholarship and I was lucky enough to have the GI Bill from my dad because he didn't use it in the military.
So then, what's your program like?
At school. So freshman year, they make your schedule for you and they kind of just like give you the shittiest classes. So they kind of like really test people out. They accept 100 people a year. And then probably by like the end of the year, it's 50. Like I'd say almost half drop out. So
Whoa.
it always
That's not
starts-
like a you got cut. That's like, I can't handle this by.
Yes.
Whoa.
Well, sometimes most of them is I can't handle this because I think what happens a lot for dancers is you will be the best in your town or your home place, wherever that is, and then you go and audition for the school, and now you're against the best of the best for the first time in your life, and it is extremely jarring to be challenged like that for the first time. To like I'm the best in Cincinnati, well, I'm the best in Houston, so you know what I mean, and it's very jarring for people, and I feel like I always had an edge over that because I'm a military brat and I was always dumped into a new situation where I never was the best because I'm just like constantly adapting to a new style of training. It wasn't too bad for me, but yeah, it always starts with 8 a.m. ballet and then 9:40 jazz, and you have lunch, and then you'd have like an academic class and then an elective, so it could be Dunham,
More jazz.
or, yeah, jazz. Yeah.
Wait, your electives were within the dance world, or did they make
Yeah.
you take something? Oh, okay. Okay.
So the electives, so I had to take folk dancing, which I was so pissed about, but like as a freshman, they put you in your classes and they force you to take those classes you don't want. So there was folk dancing, tap class, Dunham, and something else that I can't remember anymore. But yeah, I got the worst one for sure.
What?
And then a modern class until 4:45, and then you're done.
And so you're sort of moving all day long.
All day. Freshman year was really intense. And then if sometimes you'd have a second academic class at like 6 to 9
And then you fall asleep
on Mondays. Like
immediately in that class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fail that class.
I took night classes. I took one night class a couple of times in college, and like clockwork, I would get in, sit down, immediately fall asleep, wake up 3 hours later, like, well, okay, that was.
Yep. They go home, couldn't sleep because I just took a 3-hour nap. Yeah, that was me. It was terrible. I had math at night, and math is like my worst subject.
So how much do you use math and how much do you use folk now?
I'm gonna say an equal amount, like barely at all. The folk class was hilarious though. Like as much as I hated learning those dances, like the teacher was so serious about it that it was almost like a comedy every time because you're literally just like like you're literally like jigging like 1800s style, and the guy was like 5, 6, and we're all just like. We've just been like kicking our faces for 3 hours and now we're just like flapping our feet, but it was super fun.
But that's like a genre. I feel like it's so broad, but they're specifically like that era and it's a style.
Yeah. He would teach us like a dance from like a bunch of eras.
Okay.
American folk?
I'm gonna be honest, this was
2010.
Like this is 10 years ago. I don't remember.
I sleep danced through it.
Yeah. So it's actually
was that like Irish tap? Did you do that?
No. It was literally like 18th century, like character shoes were like bowing. Like it was so dumb, you guys. But
we're losing all of our folk listeners too.
I'm sorry. I mean, I love it. I love folk dancing. No, but it was actually in college when I discovered that I didn't want to do ballet anymore, which was super heart-wrenching because it was like all I ever wanted to do. And I still love ballet the most. Like I will watch the Nutcracker and still cry to this day because I miss it. Like I love it so much, but I just never really liked point. And that as a female ballerina is just never going to be an option. Like you can't just do ballet and not be on point. And I just never felt safe up there, like on my toes. I was like, and I never found a shoe that I really truly liked that fit my foot because that Russian school forced us to get a Russian point shoe, like only let us try one. And then I spent the rest of my life trying on different types of shoes and not really being able to figure out what I liked. And so it was junior year. I was like, I don't want to be a ballet major anymore. And I tried to switch majors and they were like, you'll lose your scholarship. Because ballet was like the least popular concentration because there's ballet, modern, and jazz. And so then I was like, okay, cool. Then I'm going to graduate early. Like I need to get out of here and like figure out my life. So I graduated a semester early. And then the last year I was there, I took summer school and was taking like 4 dance classes a day and like struggling. But I just was ready to start my career. I was like so over. It's really hard to dance in college. At least the school I went to was very rigorous. And technically it's hard to go to dance for college or in college because you don't need it. You know what I mean? Like you can get a dance job without a college education. I needed it because I needed extra training. I definitely matured as a dancer in college and I wouldn't exchange that for anything. I don't think I would have booked any of the jobs I'm booking now if it wasn't for that experience. But it's a mind. Are you allowed to cuss on here?
Allie will bleep it out.
You have already.
Did I?
I had to bleep an S word earlier.
Damn it.
And a P word.
Damn it.
We're very careful.
It's a mind F when you know that technically you don't need your I'm trying to be nice. When you don't need like your degree for your job. Like you can't become an engineer if you don't have an engineering degree. Like you just can't. Like you need the literal knowledge. So I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, and then you're seeing people the same age as you out there already working. That's tough too.
Yeah, and some of the people, like half the people would drop out because it was too hard, but some people would drop out because they got professional jobs and they didn't need college anymore.
Now, what do you mean by professional job? Because a lot of times there's a difference between like a gig and a job.
Yeah, well, so there's 2 types of like dance careers that you can basically have. One being a concert dance career, which is what I initially wanted. So concert dance is when you're dancing on stage. So ballet falls under that, but then there's also contemporary companies or other ones. So sometimes you can like go and join a dance company and then you're getting paid on a salary to do like X amount of shows a year. Or you can do gig-based work, which is basically LA and New York. Well, New York has companies too, but LA is basically almost all gig work, which is you get freelanced for a project that will be shot in a certain amount of time, or you can perform it live. I've done freelance live gigs and then it's done. So, but most people in college, if they were leaving, they got concert dance jobs.
Right, because you don't want to book a music video then.
And then like drop out of college, like no.
Did you find another concentration that you liked more, or did you just know that you didn't love ballet?
I wanted to switch to modern because I loved Morton technique and Graham, and I felt like it fit me more. And to be honest, like moving so much as a kid, because my father's in the military, I never really got to explore modern dance. Like I didn't even know that was a thing until I got to my junior year of high school. And then I took at Denise Wall's Dance Energy, which is a pretty well-known school because of Travis Wall from So You Think You Could Dance. And then I was taking like contemporary, and I was like, oh, this is fun, but it's like a little too late for me to figure this out. Like, because I've been focusing on
having that ballet basics, like, well, not just the basics, but like having a really strong foundation in ballet, I think makes way better modern dancers.
Oh, for sure. Like I had an edge over people that if my technique would always be better, but it's really hard to let loose as a ballerina.
Well, you've been hitting the butt with a cane for a while.
Yeah, because I will say ballet is a very black and white type of dance. You're usually just like wrong or you're right.
Like
but
cows.
Other dance styles are not like that. What?
Black and white, like fat cows. Never
exactly.
Mind.
I'm sorry, I have bad hearing.
If you were going to rank the styles in terms of overall prestige and quality,
prestige and quality,
modern, ballet, jazz, TikTok.
Oh, ballet first, and then yes.
Well, I'm asking you, which is TikTok's number one, or TikTok? What do you think about TikTok dances?
I don't know if you're being serious or you're making a joke.
A little both.
Just poking the cow, waiting for you to go off.
TikTok's fine. You know, it's the kids.
What?
Whatever. They let them have their fun. But I will say a huge problem that TikTok is creating, while talking to a lot of my friends who are professional dancers who then like retired and are teachers, is that kids are not as serious about dance. They'll go run over to the mirror and like practice their TikTok, and the dance teacher's like, what the f- are you doing? Like you're here to like technically train. And B, for some reason with the new generation, it's really popular to not put forth effort. Have you noticed that? Like everyone's like very lazy. Like Gen Z is very like they'll never like hit anything harder than they have to.
I would call it understated.
Yeah. So that's kind of trickling into their dance training, but like your muscles won't develop if you don't put in your full effort. Like
it's just like everyone's just marking it their whole life.
Exactly. And it's like, bro, you're not gonna do anything with that. So I used to, when I was a dance teacher for a little bit, I taught at Millennium, and then I also taught at this school with like kids, and the high schoolers, it would drive me nuts. They would just go through the motions. And I always say, like, what do you want to do this like with your life? Because if you do, you got to engage your muscle. Like I can't force you to work your body. Because the thing about like lifting weights is like the weight won't go up if like you can't physically lift it, right? But for dance, like you could go like this, or you can engage every muscle in your body and do that, and like craft your body into a certain way. So,
and you can use like from your belly button down when you're actually dancing, whereas that is irrelevant on TikTok.
Exactly. That could just be sitting, just flub, you know.
Not moving at all.
I don't think that's a just this generation thing. That's the thing that went around. You want to like appear as though you're giving little to no effort and still effortlessly succeeding. But I think in a lot of things that's kind of dumb. But especially you can see it in dance.
So yeah, it's funny because it's switched so much in college and in high school. I guess for me, it was like you should be trying so hard that you like fall down, and because you should fall down now so that you don't fall down when you're on stage in the future.
Ooh,
that was something I was
like
always
that.
told. Yeah.
Ooh.
Some life Some life lesson.
Life lessons. One time I did fall down on stage though, and it was terrible.
Because
It was when I was 12. My first performance on Point, and we were doing the snow dance from the Nutcracker. So everyone knows that song. So
Did you have actual snow when we can blame it on that?
It was 100% my fault. No.
black ice.
Black ice on the stage. No, it was, we did a move where we had to like kick our leg and come across and then kick our leg. And so I was trying to get my leg up there, like kick it. So I kicked my leg so hard that I like kicked my bottom leg from under me. And I like slapped my face on the ground in the middle of the Nutcracker. And everyone, like the audience literally went, ooh. And then I got up real quick and I just like finished the dance. I was like, and then I got off stage and like bawled my eyes out.
Oh, is there a VHS tape of this? Please say yes.
I don't know. I'd have to ask my mom. Probably not.
Max, we have to find a VCR.
She would find it. But I do remember my dance teacher being like, it's important that you finished. Like, that's all that matters.
Well, good for you that you did and didn't cry right then.
Yeah. But in my mind, I was like, my life is over. I could never. I mean, 12 is such a terrible age for that to happen.
Yeah, it's rough.
So you graduated with a degree.
You have one eyebrow here. Sorry.
A ballet degree.
I have a dance BFA in dance with the concentration in ballet. So it doesn't even matter. Like I just have a dance degree. I didn't need to switch my concentrations. It's just the different credits you have to get. Like to be a ballet major, you had to do point classes and pas de deux, which is partnering. And the other concentrations, you didn't have to do that. So you just had more work as a ballet major. So stupid.
So then you graduate and you decide, I'm coming to LA.
Los Angeles.
New York, Chicago.
First, I'm going to instruct internet superstar Ali Spagnola, and then I will move to LA.
First, I must craft my muse.
Check.
No, so it happened kind of weird. So I wasn't sure. I was going to New York on the megabus, auditioning for like cruise lines, and then I made it to the end for The Little Mermaid for Disney Hong Kong. Like, so I was going to do that, and then I didn't get picked like last minute, and I was pissed. And
you were going to be the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Not just like in the show. She's going to be the actual mermaid.
So I've auditioned for it twice. Once for Hong Kong, and I made it to the end, like the final 3, and once for Tokyo, and I made it to the final 3.
Dang.
And both of them I wasn't picked, and I was like, cool.
Did you get red hair then? Is that when you?
I've had red hair on and off my whole life. I just get bored, and then I just go back from red to brown.
Red was when you were playing Sebastian.
Then back. But I didn't really know. And then I actually visited a friend in Chicago who was older than me, because some of my favorite dance companies were in Chicago, like River North, Hubbard Street, Giordano. A lot of them are closed now because of not only the pandemic, but people stopped watching live performances.
Well, we have TikTok. So.
Yeah. Why would you go to see a live show? But I remember I went to visit my friend in Chicago, and I walked down the street to the subway to go to like an audition, and it was so cold and windy, and like tears were freezing to my face. And I was like, I can't do this anymore, because I was living in Pittsburgh for so long, and I was like, no. But I still hadn't made a decision. And then in LA, I auditioned for a burlesque show called Express Burlesque, and I got in. And it wasn't really traditional burlesque where you're like slowly revealing yourself. It was like 100% hip hop in heels. And then my friend would do like a backflip and like take off her shirt and like be in a sparkly bra. Like it was very, very LA, like in the style of like dancing in heels, what they do now. And I remember the choreographer was flown in from LA, because the lady who made up the show was from LA and moved back to Pittsburgh. And she wanted to do like a Pussycat Dolls kind of thing, you know what I mean? And I talked to the guy, and he was like, if you like to dance like this, you got to go to LA. And I was like, okay. And then I stayed there for a half a year, worked 4 jobs, saved up all my money, and moved across the country.
And never looked back.
Yep, never looked back. One of those jobs was Millennium Dance Complex.
Nice.
I guess what I was saying was, what options do dancers normally, what are the general options for a dancer coming out of college?
A lot of them do cruise ships, especially as your first job, because no expenses, like food and board is covered, and then you could just stack money. New York, obviously, if you really like struggling, paying your rent, but there's like a ton of companies there, or there's Broadway, especially if you have like can do any sort of singing. That's great. There's also like amusement parks, which are good. Disney is obviously the best because in Florida you can get your equity card. The other ones are kind of like, meh. Chicago did have good dance companies. A lot of them closed now, and then LA. That's basically your options unless you get booked with a company in a state. Unless you get booked for a specific company in a state, like there's always like Milwaukee Ballet. You know what I mean? But a dancer wouldn't move there in hopes of that. Like they would be hired because they did like an audition and got it specifically. Oh, and then obviously Vegas. There's a ton of shows in Vegas, like Cirque du Soleil, or the topless shows are still like all professionally trained dancers and stuff like that.
Music videos.
Well, music videos would be LA. LA is gig work, commercials, music videos, TV, film.
And so you're just like always going to auditions. I mean, I know it's different now, but
Oh, actually, I'm going to. So I used to go to auditions all the time where I would be in the car. Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
I'd be like in the car looking for parking, going to these auditions. Dance auditions, like open calls in LA are insane. It'll be like 600 girls
that all look like you.
that well, no, not the open calls. The open call is when they don't know what they want, so they're like any height, any race, any background of training, everyone just come. And it's like 600 people. It's an all-day affair. You don't eat. Like it's terrible. And then if it's a call for people that look like you, it'll probably be like 200 or 300 people show up for dance.
So it's an open call. They're like, we want anybody, any race, any blah,
color,
blah, blah.
any height.
And then they hire like 5 Indian girls, and you're like, cool, okay,
yeah,
got it.
Why didn't you say? Like a lot of times they'll do that, or yeah, there's always like a quota that they want to hit of people, but it can be really crazy like that. And then auditions for commercials and TV is nice because with LA casting, so those open dance calls, you bring your headshot, like old school, printed out, and you like give it to them and with the resume on the back. And then as you're dancing, they have your headshot and resume in front of them, and they're like looking at your credits. And then after you're done,
7, 8,
yeah, so you go like once.
God, I hope I get it.
No, it's literally like that. Like you go,
Wow.
you get to go like once or twice, maybe if you're lucky, and switch lines. And then they'll put the people they want in one pile and people they don't want in another. And then they'll take the pile that they want and they'll be like, okay, number 2, number 5, and number 6, and number 9. You can all stay. Everyone else, thank you so much. And then
you stay for another
long,
round.
Yeah.
And otherwise, you're just like sitting in a room with a bunch of other various age and ethnicity dancers.
Yeah, you go there and you learn this combo, and usually there's so many people that they have to teach them in groups. So that's why it takes so long, because there's only so many people can fit in a dance studio.
And so you're just sitting around otherwise. It's just like a whole day of working.
Yes.
For maybe
a job.
Wow.
Yeah. One time, for like Disney. So you go in and you learn a dance combo, right? Then they do cuts. And then they go in and you do the dance combo with lip syncing. Then they do cuts. Then they do a strength audition, because for that specific role, you'd have to be on a harness and fly over the audience. So then they made us like hold a handstand upside down. They made us like do a back up and hold it for like 30 seconds and like all these random things. So like I was there doing all of these tests. Yeah.
That's crazy. So could I just go to an open audition, get cut immediately, but get a free dance class at the beginning?
Honestly, you wouldn't learn anything because it's so many people. You can't really see. Like half the time in a dance audition, I'm learning the combination from another person in front of me. And then I'm going into the hallway, and then all of us are like, okay, is the 3 this, and we're all working together, like helping each other. Yeah, that's really what it is. But it's
you're auditioning for TikTok.
It's insane. I mean, it sucks. I could try to see like old Instagram stories and give you guys a clip if you want to insert it of like me just waiting in a line that's like a mile long just to sign in.
That's crazy. And so then you are like helping each other. It's not like super competitive at that moment. You're just
No,
working
I'd
through
say
it?
most people, at least in LA. I mean, dance is as many people as there is, it's still a bubble where you kind of get to know everyone, especially like in your age group, like that you're auditioning with. Like I wouldn't know like the 18-year-olds that are moving here, but all the people who are older dancers that have been here a while, like I know almost all of them because you just see each other at all these auditions all the time. So it's competitive, but not like how you see in TV. We're not going to push each other down a flight of stairs or like steal each other's point shoes or something like that. Like we're all there for each other. And in the end, it's so much more than just like how good of a dancer you are. It's how you look and if you match other people and all these other factors. So like, even if you were manipulative, it might be for nothing because there's so much more that goes into it than just your like technique alone.
Do they care about your online following now?
Sometimes, not really for the open calls, but a lot of times for commercials and music videos and stuff, they sometimes will ask you to say it when you slate. So the open calls are just a free for all, but like if you get called in specifically, I remember a huge reason I talked to you and Max at like a party in a backyard. I remember I was complaining because I was at a Target audition and they made me say my name and how many followers I had on Instagram. And I remember at the time I had like 5,000. Like I wasn't like trying to do internet stuff, but like I had an okay thing. And Allie, you said to me, I was complaining about it. I was like, why does that matter? Like I'm a ballerina, like blah, blah, blah. And you were like, well, why don't you just try to make internet stuff? Like just play the game.
Oh, that sounds like me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was
Okay.
like, instead of complaining about the game, join the game. And I was just like, like, that's a good idea. And then I talked to Max about it for a while and you were kind of like hesitant about me making internet stuff just because you knew all the hate that could come from it. And
Well, I thought that story was about me for a long time. That sounds like something I would, try to push you towards, because it is, as much as they want something, they don't know what they want, and if it's not that hard to build up a following and have a leg up, then
I mean, it's
worth it.
extremely hard to build up a following. I got lucky because I had people in my circle who already had followings. Not to discredit
And
my
that
talents,
gorgeous winged foot.
and my gorgeous feet, obviously.
Foot.
Just one of them.
Well, earlier you said that all the older dancers. Let's deconstruct that. Older dancers, you're a child. What is this industry?
No, I'm 29. I am like
Ugh.
the cusp of
How old is an old dancer?
29.
29.
I mean, there's girls like in their mid 30s and stuff still doing it. It just depends on injuries because like people are prone to injuries. It's scary,
So then what is 30 and up once you've had a dance career?
I think a lot of people it changes. So like those open calls are basically young dancers. Most older dancers don't go to those anymore, and we go to things that are specifically like asked of us. Like if somebody finds you on a casting website and asks you to audition specifically, then you'll do it. But yeah, and then the older you get, so you're doing more of those type of calls where like they're like, we want you to, because the thing about dance is you'll see a commercial and someone will like do a skip over a log, and it's like, that's a dancer, like because they don't want to like chance it on being someone who is going to slip on their footing and break their face.
Someone who's not going to skip over a log beautifully,
or be able to do it the same way 400 times so that they could get all their different camera angles.
Yeah.
So those little things you don't realize. And then also people teach dance a lot of times, or there's competitions. Like I never was a competition dancer as a kid, but a lot of older dancers will judge competitions, and that's pretty good pay.
Earlier you were talking
choreography.
About learning dances, learning moves. Do you find that all of your dance friends are equally as good, or is there a huge range in how fast someone can pick up a dance? For example, I've seen you pick up a dance very, very quickly by my standards. My standards would be I need 3 weeks to figure out a dance, a 10-second dance, because I'm terrible at it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's a big range, or is that just like a skill that all dancers have?
I think once you're at the professional level, like where I'm at, we all can pick up dance really fast. If you can't, then you just won't be. Because the thing is you go into a room, you learn the dance in 30 minutes, you leave the room, they call you in groups of 10, you do the dance once and you leave. So if you don't have it then, you're cut. Like you wouldn't have a career. So you have to like at least learn the dance. I will say when there is a range, like obviously, like not some people are way quicker than others, but we are all quick enough to like be viable to get jobs. I do remember when I joined that ballet school in the 6th grade, being slower than everyone else picking up choreography. And I remember thinking like, okay, how am I going to make this work in my brain? Like as a kid, I was like, okay, whatever I'm doing now isn't working. So like figuring out that like for me, it was like the way I mark things and the way I say it in my head, which now I know is like how most people do, where you're like, 1 and a 2, like all those stupid things. Like you learn to do that as a kid, like what works for you to pick stuff up.
Yeah, is it counting or is it like those weird syllables? Because I hate choreographers that don't count and they just like say their silly words. But
Yeah, it's
sometimes that works
weird
for people.
because technical trained dancers always count and non-technical trained dancers like hip hop dancers
Boom ba ga ga.
yeah.
Shut
So
up.
you have to like they yeah.
Pow.
They really like dance to the music. But it's crazy because as much as it was really hard for me for a long time to switch because I was always to the counts. And then like taking class out here, I was like, this is frustrating. But now the way that they use those beats and those sounds match the music. So my musicality has improved.
Okay.
Because like when you do something to the beat, to the count, it's to the beat, right? But sometimes you'll have a move that'll be like like that's not on the count, but it's like something in the background, like they put a cymbal somewhere. A dancer will like hit that. You know what I mean?
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, you're remembering quickly. How long does it stick? Like 2 auditions ago, can you just like do that right now?
Never.
Pull it
No.
back up? No, gone.
No,
Wow,
it's gone.
in and out.
Yeah. Well, there's some, it depends. Like
would
short
think-
dance, like a TikTok dance, I'll be able to like kind of remember it and maybe like relearn it. Those auditions that I do, gone. They're short-term memory. But there's a different way you learn things for short-term or for long-term. Like when I book a job and I know I'm going to be doing this show, you conceptualize it differently. Then when you go into an audition, you learn it and you throw it away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't want to
There's
waste brain
something-
power.
Yeah. I was like, I only have so much space in there. I can't keep that.
I also want to know.
Imagine like those lunch trays. You know, you like put a tray in and you take another tray out. That's
Yeah.
your.
That's my brain with choreography.
Those long audition days, like you're just like fasting all day. You just don't.
Oh no, you're bringing bars. You're bringing
Okay.
banana, apple. Like I was always bringing snacks. You just die. But they don't think about you. I mean, that's what's really sad about being a dancer is you're so disposable because so many people want the job and there's so little jobs that we should be one of the best paid careers in the entertainment industry because of like the physicality of it alone. But because there's so much competition, they know that they can get away with bad, what am I thinking?
Bad treatment.
Bad treatment, yeah, bad pay, like anything like that. Because if we don't do it, if I don't do it, someone else will.
For free.
Yeah. For a little money.
Man, it's like NFL players. You should be being paid as much as them, minus the concussions. Maybe. I'm sure there are times where
I'm sure a girl's gotten hit in the head with a point shoe.
Minus the concussion, add the eating disorders.
Yeah, yikes. Oh yeah, speaking of, let's talk about Taco Bell.
This video is sponsored. I wish.
Aren't you yet? Why aren't you sponsored by Taco Bell?
I'm not big enough. They don't love me. They don't love me like I love them.
Unrequited Taco Bell love. I guess I kind of want to move away from dance for a sec because you have a mukbang channel and I want to know if there's any sort of training involved. Do you think about it that way? Do you work out extra on a day where you eat a lot?
The best advice I can give to people when it comes to food, from what I've seen of dancers throughout life, is just, how can I say this nicely? You can be conscious of something without being obsessive over it, right? For me, anytime I've met somebody who starts calorie counting or journaling their eating habits, like my roommate did that in college and stuff like that, and it becomes your whole life and you lose a sense of like yourself and your happiness, especially because you're already being a dancer and dance takes up so much of your concentration. And then if your free time is only about food, you have nothing else. Like, you know what I mean? There's no happiness anywhere else. Like, cause so much time is taken up by dance. So if the free time is food, it can cause disorders. Like it's just becomes like this terrible, like two sides of a coin. So for me, when it comes to food, I think a lot of people also forget to listen to their body. Like I'm very in tune with like, oh, I'm full, I'm going to stop. If there's food left on my plate, it doesn't matter. I will save it. Like I'm just going to stop.
What kind of mukbang is that?
I don't give a fuck. I'm like, unsubscribe, baby. I don't need you. You need me. And my mukbang, we've always said, mukbang is like an eating show, if anyone doesn't know. But on my mukbang channel, it's more about the discussion with my friend and like making an environment of like, everyone always comments like, oh, I feel like I'm hanging out with my friends. I don't feel like alone, like while I'm eating lunch at work. It's not so much about like binge eating, which is like a whole other subculture of mukbang.
Right, got it.
I just don't stress about food. Like I used to work out every day and then I would eat how I want and it would be fine. It all evens out. And then if I felt like a little sluggish or I looked puffy, I'd be like, all right, let's like not have a snack tonight and drink some more water. Like, but without being like, oh, you're a terrible person. Like you should never beat yourself up and like belittle yourself because you had some Taco Bell. Does that make sense?
A lot of Taco Bell. Yeah.
Or a lot of Taco Bell.
Sounds very sensible.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how you're not working out anymore?
Well, okay. I will say, I don't know if this is interesting because you guys are like a fitness podcast, but I remember, I think it was in college. I don't remember. Somebody came and talked to us about the importance of cross training. And I was like, oh no, it was when I was at Ballet West, I remember, which is a premier school in Utah. And I was like, I don't have time to cross train because I'm so busy training. Like, what do you mean? But it's hard to cross train when you're in high school or college because all day is spent dancing. But once I stepped away from that, when I lived in LA, I realized I've never been more strong than when I would dance like 3 times a week and then go to the gym 4 times a week and cross train my body. And I realized like for me, dance is kind of cardio. Like sure, as an adult, I'll like be sore and I'll improve. But like once you graduate, you're kind of like just trying to maintain. And then the way that I stayed stronger or like got better at turning, getting my leg up, balancing was cross training with weightlifting. Like I didn't need to go on the treadmill or a stair stepper or a bicycle. I needed to lift heavy and like shock my muscles. So I really miss doing that because obviously all the gyms are closed because of the pandemic. So for me, when I would go to the gym, I would have like, you know, arms or like a leg day or a back day and lift heavy. So like I would do 3 sets of 12 squats with like
bodybuilding, hey.
70-pound weights, you know? Yeah. Like I would like try to do that because it was opposite of dance. So it just made me a stronger person all in all.
That's interesting because I feel like most dancers, I mean, I guess I don't know, but like the idea is to have long, lean muscles and they would be scared to do squats.
A lot of them are, and I tell them that they're dumb. Because the way, I mean, yes, it's a mix. So some people are really into fitness, like a ton of the dance community. Another job that they get is or fitness teachers. And that's such a broad thing. There's so many types of fitness you can do, and especially in LA, there's like all these different methods and whatnot. So I think fitness now, it's popular to be fit. Like it's the aesthetic people aspire to be. Where like in the 90s, it was like model thin.
Yeah.
Where now it's like it's cool to like have definition and that type of stuff. I think the only people I know who are afraid of getting bulky are people who struggle with eating disorders and body image issues.
Oh, interesting.
Everyone else that I know is like down with working out. Most dancers I know do go to the gym or fitness teachers.
Maybe
it
we
is
should
an
stop
interesting
ripping on
shift.
those people. Me and Allie rip on that idea all the time.
What?
Girls worried about getting bulky. Maybe we're attacking people with eating disorders and we had no idea.
Well, no, I don't want. I mean, it's different with dance. It's such a small niche thing, but I mean, I think that there are still people who have that worry in their mind, but now I think fitness is so popular that people have learned that that's not necessarily true.
And maybe the look is a cool look.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's still a fear of looking like a CrossFitter versus, you know, having some definition. But for sure that crazy shift, I remember growing up in the 90s, it was just like you wanted to see like the shoulder bones, your collarbone sticking out, like just you look back at movies at that time or music videos and everyone, like all the women are just like about to break. And that was just like what you aspired to.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked that that's switched.
Same. But a lot of dancers also, I mean, I bodybuild because I like it. I like to have something different than cardio, but a lot of them take and train and teach at like these studios like F45 or Bar Works or
Orange Theory.
Body by Simone, Orange Theory, like those type of classes where it's like weightlifting and cardio, HIIT training.
Body by Simone is like a lot dance. I remember almost like
Fully,
not being able to keep up.
Well, that was like a dance. We took a dance cardio class.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. They have like butt and abs and like
booty
build, like
booty.
You know.
Booty sculpt.
That one's definitely more cardio, but there are like F45. I know a lot of dancers who are trainers there.
Yeah.
HIIT, lightweight HIIT.
Lightweight HIIT workouts. But sometimes they have heavy weights.
I know this is a stupid question, but you get all the time. But how do you get split? How do I get my splits like yours?
It's not a stupid question. I actually posted a YouTube video of how to get your splits,
which I use the towel technique. Yeah.
Did it help?
I use that every night. Yeah.
It helps so much. So for me, I was not flexible growing up, and there was this certain stretch a teacher told me to do that you can use with a towel or a partner, where you basically like you pull your leg to your head as far as you can and you press against it and relax into it. But basically, like stretching is just like working out. Like if you want to improve, you have to do it every day. It's not going to magically come, and you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to hold your stretches for over 30 seconds.
Over 30 seconds.
So there is a trick.
So you'll feel it too. I always tell people try to go for 45 seconds to a minute, and you can feel like when you stretch, it's like painful and it's uncomfortable, and sometimes you can almost feel your muscle like give in a little.
Yeah, especially when you do that technique that it was in your video.
Yeah, and if you don't feel that give a little, then you're not holding your stretches long enough. Like, and it's not like this, like, oh, like it's still gonna hurt, but it's just like a little, like a little bit. Yeah.
We had a gymnast on, and I asked her about that, like pushing against the stretch, and she was like, "What? No, I don't do that." Okay, whatever.
Well, gymnasts are a different breed of human.
You started as a gymnast, which I didn't know about till this podcast that I just
did ballet. I went to one of those like open gyms that was like, we teach ballet and gymnastics, and you're just like, okay, like. But I didn't like climbing like high in the air. Like I remember, like I didn't like to like let go, and I'd just be like, this is it. But yeah, but if you like actually are a gymnast and you do it in the Olympics or like train for that, they're even more strict than ballerinas.
Shorter lifespan, so same thing.
Yeah.
What do I?
There's less career options.
Athletic lifespan, not like lifespan.
Yeah.
Gymnasts aren't like dropping.
They don't die at 30 or something.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They put their bodies and minds through a lot.
So much.
Yeah. What's the weirdest audition you've been to?
Dude, I do. You know what's crazy is honestly, I have like 2 auditions a day. And now I self-tape them at home, but like, I mean, just the other day I had to like worship a fake hamburger. So I had to do like a ritual dance around it.
Did you just send him a link to your mukbang?
Yeah. I know. I literally like put a candle on the ground and like pretended it was a hamburger and like danced around it. And I was like, breathe in the smells. And I was like literally like doing like a hippie, like spiritual dancing around a hamburger.
Oh my God. Yeah. So when can we get a copy of this? I'd like
to. Max heard me doing it and he was like, okay, yep.
Should she book it? Like, did she nail it?
We'll see. I mean, this was literally like 2 days ago. So they just downloaded the audition probably like this weekend.
I asked you about the weirdest audition. You're like, I don't know. This one 2 days ago was absurd.
Yeah, I've done weird things. Yeah.
What about like the hardest? Was there any that was like incredibly athletic?
My audition to get into college.
Was it?
That one was literally all day long. I had to take a full ballet class. Then we passed it, and then you had to take a full jazz class, like or modern class. So it's 2 full classes back to back, but you're like as nervous as you could be ever. And then you had to do, I think, a solo. And then
That
I
you
was
had
like,
prepared?
that I had prepared.
Whoa.
Did they cut people?
Yeah, you get cut every.
So like, oh,
After
time
every
to go to
round.
college. Nope, not you. Get that in.
Yeah,
Holy moly.
somewhere
that's
else.
insane.
you're not good enough for this place.
Yikes.
Woo.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was really
Okay.
bad.
Well, I know you worked with the Ultra Angels, right? And that's well, first, can we give them a rundown of what that is?
So the Ultra Angels are the dancers of Ultra Music Festival. So instead of dancing for a specific artist, like if I was on tour with Ariana Grande or someone like that, I'm on tour with the festival. So I dance to every DJ that wants dancers in that festival. So we learn like 4 dances that are to the counts so that they can have tempo changes depending on the song that we're dancing to.
So you just like pull one out and they're like, okay, we're doing a 4.
Yeah, so like it'll be like Steve Aoki wants dancers for his second song on the beat drop, whatever. So usually DJs, we can tell like how long they're gonna go before the beat drops or it falls out and it goes back to like, you know how EDM music is, like there's always like the big drop and stuff like that. So we'll be like, there's dances 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're like, okay, and they all have different kind of styles. So we're like, okay, let's do dance like 2 and 4 with this entrance, and then we'll like cross out this way, or we'll do dances 1, 2, and 3, or dances 1, 2, and 4. You know, so we're like every time before we go to stage, we pick which dances we want to do.
That's cool.
And how we want to transition into them.
And you have to hit the drop. You gotta know.
Gotta hit the
Sometimes it's like
drop.
an extra measure that they just keep building
Yeah.
up. I
So
thought it was gonna
sometimes
drop.
The worst thing that can happen is like you're in the middle of dancing and then the DJ just picks up the mic and they're like, hey, Ultra Music Fest, and the music just drops out, and then usually we just like
Put up the U.
put up the U and wait for them to stop, because you're not going to dance to like nothing. And then what we do is like if the music drops, you'll go from the top of the dance of the last one. So if you're in the middle of dance number 2, you know to start at the top of dance 2.
Wow.
This is so weird. Like my mind doesn't conceptualize any of that. Like the idea of, oh, no problem, just kick back to the beginning of one dance that I've learned. Like I can't even.
Yeah.
And
And how long are each 1, 2, 3, 4?
They're usually like 30 seconds to a minute.
Oh, longer than I thought. I figured it was just like 4 counts and you just.
No, they're pretty long.
Wow.
Because we're dancing.
Was it an apple loop?
We're dancing like all day long. Like the festivals, I will say, were the hardest things, because you start at like 12 and you end at like 2. And then you're dancing like 10 minutes.
So like
on and
noon
off.
to 2 p.m.?
2 a.m., yeah.
Oh, a.m.
Usually though, for the last set, like the headliners never want dancers because their egos filled up the whole stage. So usually the last hour we don't have to dance.
Wow.
Solid.
Yeah.
How do you prep for that? It's just like a marathon all day.
You know, you really don't. The first one I did, I wanted to die. You just have to like gear up for it. Like the audition to get into the Ultra Angels is the same as any open dance call. So like X amount of girls show up and then you just hope to be picked. And then you go to Miami, which it's like 30 girls in Miami, which is their biggest show of the year in the US. And then from those 30, they'll pick 5 to 10 girls to go on tour and travel the world.
That's crazy. And yeah, that was my next question, is that like you're on planes to forever away. Like, do you have any hacks, or like how do you survive that? Because I know like no matter how long the flight is, if it's an hour, it just ruins my day and I'm physically crushed.
Yeah, I will say the adrenaline going into a country and into a show helps, It's not like if I was just like going for a vacation, I would need a day to like relapse, like, or like chill out, because when I come back from the tour, it takes me a week at least to like fix my sleep schedule, I'm like exhausted. But when I do these jobs, you know, they only give you a day free at usually the last day. So you go in and like you have like the family dinner, like the whole company meets together, and the next day you have rehearsals, and then you have a show and you have hair and makeup and you go. So it's like you don't really have time to be tired. So your body just like, your adrenaline's going. You don't even register it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are the rehearsals, are you going full out too?
Those ones, it's weird because, so like Miami, Ultra Miami is in March, and then the tour starts in June. So the first country that we go to, which is usually Korea or Singapore, that one we're kind of like, do we remember what we did? So that one will be hard. But then like once you do that first country, it's like 4 countries back to back. So then they're just becoming like, all right, we're just like doing blocking, because every stage is shaped different depending on the venue.
Yeah. Okay.
So like you have to figure out like if there's 4 girls on each side or 3 girls and 2 in a box or like whatever. So the rehearsals are more like safety stuff, like because there's also fire and fireworks and all that stuff. So we have to talk to the engineering team and make sure they don't like blow us up.
Jeez,
Just
that's
fun.
nuts. So
Yeah. I love it.
so, do you want to talk about your injury? I did see your most recent YouTube.
Yep. It's actually better now. I'm excited, but I've gotten my first injury, which I feel lucky that at 29.
You're such an
I've had my
old
first-
dancer.
Yeah, I'm so old that I've had most of my career without an injury. Like I know one of my friends, Bridget, she had like double hip surgery when we were in college.
Jeez.
And like my friend Allie blew out her knee because she was working for what's that amusement park in Ohio with like the Beast? It's a the biggest wooden roller coaster, or like has a
Busch Gardens.
no. Busch Gardens is the one I worked at in Virginia. Oh my god, this is gonna drive me crazy. Something Island?
Fantasy Island.
No, what? That's like a porn name.
It's a strip club.
There's an amusement park in Ohio. What is it called? Whatever. Anyway, she used to work for this amusement park in
Idlewild?
Ohio, and she had to do a back handspring on concrete. And one day she just landed wrong and blew out her ACL, MCL, and meniscus at once. And that was her senior year of high school.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I think you got out of gymnastics.
I know. I was like, well, I kinda wish I could do
Knott's
some-
Berry Farm,
no.
Kings Island.
Kings Island. That's what it is.
It's
I think.
cheating.
Or Cedar Point. I think it was
Everyone who's
Kings
just
Island.
listening, he's Googling right now. We see it on YouTube.
Yeah, literally. So, but I have basically it's called a Morton's Neuroma. It's like nerve damage in my foot, and it's 100% from dancing in heels for the last 5 years for 10 hours at a time, because it's a pressure injury, so like, or like a low, what is it called? Like a slow burn injury. Whereas like
Chronic?
my friend who broke her knee, it was an immediate snap
Sure.
of a ligament, where mine was like I was damaging it without knowing I was.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
So what happened?
Oh, well, basically, so the nerve in between my 3rd and 4th metatarsal was getting smushed in between my metatarsals because I was dancing in heels and I was like jumping and doing choreo. The impact I was putting on my nerve inside of a shoe that probably didn't fit me as well as it should, because costumes and stuff like that, they weren't my shoes. Basically, tissue built up around the nerve trying to protect it, but then that tissue hardens. And it keeps happening over and over again until you have basically like a little rock inside of your foot in between your bones. So every time I step down, my metatarsals are snapping over my nerve.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've gotten a bunch of shots in my foot, so it's feeling better now. And then we're going to reconvene in January to see if I need more shots or surgery or where we're at.
How common is like surgery? Is that like the solution to this, or is it?
Well, it's hard because this injury is not something that will heal, like how a broken bone heals. Like once it's there, it's there. So either the shots I'm getting it's called alcohol sclerosing. So it's supposed to basically dehydrate the nerve so it gets like shrinks like a little raisin. So we hope that works. A lot of people just wear like orthopedic shoes and metatarsal spacers for the rest of their life, but like that's not really an option for me because I am like as old as I am as a dancer, I'm still a young human. So like if I was in my 70s, yeah, maybe that's an option, but like I'm not going to wear orthopedics for the rest of my life, especially because I do still want to dance. So that's why surgery isn't like necessary, I guess, but it's like it is because of my career. Like a lot of people who get these injuries are girls who wear heels a lot, like or walking in heels, and long distance runners or cyclists, because it's a lot of long distance injury because it's
Continual,
impact.
yeah.
And I was basically long distance running in heels, so
Long distance dancing.
yeah, literally.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
but I'm
hopefully in
hopeful I won't
January
need
it's
the surgery because the
Yeah.
shots. I will say when I filmed that video, I was like freaking out because I was not feeling better at all, and now I've had my 7 shots, and she said let it sit for a little bit because the alcohol's doing its work, and it does not hurt as bad to like walk and stuff. And I've been like kind of giving myself a break from dance, and I think soon I'll try to do like a ballet bar and see how it feels to see if I need more shots or what's the next steps.
If you take a beginner class, let me come.
Just looking them up on YouTube these days.
They're live
Oh,
ones.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
so sad. Our industry basically is completely gone because of COVID.
Yeah, but I just have to believe that people are going to be like, once we get out of this, they're going to be like, oh my God, I need to see ballet in person.
I hope so, but I mean, a lot of them already shut down before that, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm hopeful, but for a lot of dancers, it just comes at a weird time because dance has such a short lifespan. That I know a couple of dancers that are older than me who are like, well, like I'm 35, this is it.
Mhm.
Like I was still dancing, but after COVID, I won't be. Like it's too late. So
Wow. Yeah, that's so interesting. To take that chunk out of your short lifespan is like,
yeah,
a
to take a
big
year
deal.
or two away from a dancer is like
That's huge.
it's huge. Yeah, when your like career is 10 years.
wow.
That's almost 10%.
Nice.
Oh my-
That math class.
So, what advice do you give to aspiring dancers right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
good
Do
luck.
your
No.
splits.
Yeah.
Stretch every day.
I think like the advice that I heard that kind of like made me feel better was don't feel guilty that if you don't feel like you're doing enough, because the thing that we're going through right now is so traumatic that I don't think we all realize how traumatic it is because we're just living in it. So, at first I saw all these people like taking class in their living room and they're like at their parents' house, so they have a ton of space, where like our LA apartments are not equivalent to like your family in suburbia.
Mhm.
And like people taking class every day and still training and stuff like that. But if you just need a day to like be sad that you can't go to class in person or auditions, like it's okay. And to take it day by day and just listen to your body. I think if I would have just listened to my body, maybe I could have prevented this injury,
Maybe.
maybe, because I couldn't really tell at first. But
Yeah.
it is so much about like everyone's like, oh, I have to, the competition, like, oh, I have to like be as good as everyone else. But you gotta look within. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for talking with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I had a good time.
Heck
Hopefully
yeah.
it was interesting for the viewers. It's not dance to me is a full body workout. It's freaking hard, man.
Yeah.
But
Like
it's
you
also
said,
an art
you said
form.
it's
So
cardio. Of course it is. Like you
Yeah.
almost were apologetic for that. Like, no, are you kidding me?
it is. And it's a lot of, especially ballet is so much muscle building. You
Mhm.
start like on the ground, you work your leg up into the air, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I think
it's
people forget.
active use of or stretching and muscle use, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
I
curls,
feel like
you're not stretching, but you're actively like holding your leg up. So you're, well, no, I think there's a term for it.
yeah. I know that I can't think of kinetic energy. I don't know. Of stagnant energy. I don't know. I think that people forget that dance is so athletic because it's also an art form.
Yeah, and you have to look like it's easy. Like your face,
Yeah.
well, when I'm cleaning, is just horrendous, right? But you're doing something just as hard, and you have to make it look great and not smear your makeup.
And then like people believe that they can do it, and then they try it and they're like, well, thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah.
Fun.
And where can the Fitheads find you?
You can find me at Bmarsz on all social media platforms. That's Bmarsz. Bmarsz.
Be a Martian.
Bmarsz.
I love that. Your
Yeah.
fan group is called Martians.
My little Martians on Mars. And then there's also the #relationship goals Facebook show that you can find us at.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite personalities is on that. Max No Sleeves.
Yeah.
He sounds pretty cool.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Wait, Max, we didn't ask her the one question. He already knows the answer.
That's right. How do you incorporate your training with alcohol?
Hand in hand, baby. Alcohol, it's like I don't drink the days that I'm like dancing.
You don't drink dance?
No.
You mean
I mean
like-
at the club I do, but
It's an art form.
but
You don't drink the day that you have to dance, or you don't drink the day before, so you're not hungover?
before, yeah.
Okay.
If I know I have a big audition coming up, I will not drink the day before, if not 2 days before. And there are, especially after Ultra, there would be like parties afterwards, and like I physically could not drink after dancing for 10 hours and like trying to like sip some alcohol. My body's like, bro, we are so dehydrated. Like it would taste bad. Like champagne would be like I need water. So physically I just couldn't do it.
I just
Yeah.
realized we've never done a beer mile together.
We haven't. I would probably throw up. I'll do it
Good,
though.
great. Then I'll put the puke warning in the title, and it will be a great video.
Exclamation point.
I've gotten so much worse. I will say, like in college, like I would like party on the weekends and then be super serious about like dance during the week. Like, it was like a 180. Like I was able, when I was 21, obviously. But yeah, it's all about balance. I kind of feel like alcohol is like food. Like the only people I know who are like really strict about alcohol with dance are people who are calorie counting. They're like, oh, I can only have like a half a cup of red wine because it's the rest of my like calorie intake. Yeah. I think that's it.
Dope. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll see you next time. Thank you to the Fitheads. And if you can rate and review, that would be awesome. Go find us on Apple Podcasts.
Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.